So Erik Ten Hag and Manchester United have capped the season off in prime fashion by winning the FA Cup after a 2-1 win against arch rival Manchester City. Especially given how United's season has been, it has been a very tepid season and a disappointing season, and they were facing the threat of after finishing eighth in the Premier League, they were facing the threat of not having any European football. But now, after that FA Cup win, United has qualified for the Europa League in the last match of their season. So coming to the match, I think what worked for United is the fearlessness with which they went inside the match. Usually, we tend to see, and this is not only United, most teams they have this fear about City, and for correct reason, given how ruthless they are under Pep Guardiola. But City, but United, there was this sort of maybe it was just a pre-game tactic or game plan by Ten Hag. While City enjoyed as expected, City did enjoy majority of the possession in the opening minutes, but there was this sense of going forward. We were seeing that when United was going forward, there was a sense of confidence which has been lacking in the Red Devil throughout the season. So I think that's been the main reason, and of course, I think the first goal, the way City conceded, no matter how good a team you are, if you concede a goal like that in a big final, it tends to hit your morale. It tends to make a dent. And after that, we saw Kobe Manu making it 2-0 after Alejandro Garnacho capitalized from that City error to score United's first goal. So that's more or less what I think went right for United. Talking a bit on City, Joanne, you were watching the match, and from a footballing perspective and as a City fan, what do you think went wrong for City?
I think the term you used was right. Ruthless is what you'd expect City to be in a final, but as expected, we maintained possession. But somehow United defense was on point today. They were making no mistakes, clearing every ball. Haaland, like people have been talking about how it's been a very slow season for him. It was pretty evident today. He did not get many touches of the ball. They weren't testing Onana enough in the first half. And especially in the first half, after that first goal, like you said, it hits the morale, and that second goal added more pain to City. But I think we lost the game because we weren't making use of the chances. Haaland hit the crossbar. Onana showed up. He made a couple of brilliant saves to keep City at 0. So I think that's where we lost the match. And I think that Jeremy Doku should have been introduced a bit early because he provided that explosiveness that we needed on the wings. So I think that's where City lost the match, and they got properly outplayed in the final minutes as well, with United keeping a stable back four and clearing away anything that was coming their way. So I think that's where City lost the match.
Yeah, so you spoke about Jeremy Doku. Obviously, he scored the goal. Not taking away any credit, given how Onana performed throughout the match. It was a shoddy goal to concede, especially at the near post. But yeah, definitely after Doku's introduction, there was this extra dimension to City's attack, and you could see. And United was fortunate to have one of the best one-on-one defenders in Wan-Bissaka to deal with Doku. But just touching shortly, I just want your views, a short view on this. During the match, I think one of the commentators said, maybe it was Martin Tyler, that Haaland is a world-class goal scorer but not a world-class player. Which basically, from what I could gather, it means that when he has the service, he's ruthless, and his records speak for himself. But what do you think is lacking? Because if he doesn't get the service in matches where the service does not come easily, what he does without the ball, do you think that he has to work on sharpen these aspects of his game?
Yeah, definitely. I think that is something that City will need to work on next season, because for a long time City didn't have a proper striker, and suddenly City got a striker last season, and suddenly he broke the Premier League record. But I think throughout this season, teams figured out how to keep him at bay, like keep one person just to mark Haaland. Today Varane did that. Even Lisandro Martinez was doing a good job with it. They were preventing any balls coming to Haaland, and I think that is something they have to work on. Haaland maybe needs to play like a Harry Kane role, coming back into like the midfield, carrying the ball, keeping the ball at his feet for more than 5 seconds, maybe like letting the other players go around him and out front and feeding them the ball instead of just expecting the ball himself all the time. I think if City are to challenge for the title with teams like Arsenal, even United, Liverpool, or coming up next season, I think City has to work on Haaland more and try and figure out a way for him to like fully utilize him in the game.
Yeah, and as you said, Haaland does have that ability to hold the ball. He's not just a poacher, as we have seen. Okay, so that's more that's more or less all I mean about the match really. And in case you missed it, as far as I remember, I think this is City's first domestic defeat in 171 days since the Aston Villa. So yeah, it was never going to be easy for United, but somehow this, I mean, it was a magnificent effort from Erik Ten Hag and his boys. Coming to Ten Hag, so much speculation on his future at United, and even there were reports from very credible sources that he gets the sack even if he wins the FA Cup, which is quite similar to what happened to Louis van Gaal in 2016. So. What do you think? What is your view on this? Do you think Ten Hag has done enough to prevent the sack? I mean, obviously, from what you have seen, and as a rival and as someone who watches football intently, do you think Ten Hag has done enough to prevent the sack, or do you think that despite the FA Cup win, I mean, maybe it's time for United to again look for a new manager?
I think maybe despite their performance in the league, you could look at the stats and the stats don't lie. Ten Hag has won a trophy in both the seasons at the club with the League Cup last season also. So I think if you're comparing him to other managers in the league, even Arteta's Arsenal, they haven't won any trophies in the last 2 seasons, but Arteta is considered a world-class manager, but Ten Hag isn't. And I think it would be unfair to sack him even after this big victory in the FA Cup final. So, and I think he has the support of the Man United fans, especially after his moving speech in the final match day of the Premier League, where he promised, he said that his team would give everything in this FA Cup final, and that's what they did. And I think he has the support of most of the players. There have been problems with, for example, Ronaldo, Sancho, but I think that comes with the coaching and the discipline that he's trying to bring in the club, and that was very evident on the pitch today. So I think it would be really unfair if United were to let him go this season, because there is potential for him, like in terms of trophies next season.
Yeah, I mean, also it has not been easy for him injury wise.
Yeah.
So that was all from us, from me and Johan, regarding our thoughts on the FA Cup final. Do stay tuned to Sportstar for all sporting news and updates. We'll be bringing you live updates from all sporting events across the world. So this is it, signing off. Thanks, guys.